Hey guys, how's it going? Jam here, and welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix from RGL Season 1. The qualifying results are on screen for you now, and as you can see I'm starting on the front row, missing out on pole position by just 4 thousandths of a second. I'm going to jump to the start of the Grand Prix now. 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5, and...
Drive-through penalty. You have a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, I got a drive-through. That's quite possibly the worst commentary on a start I've ever done as well, but I was trying to emphasise the fact that I got the drive-through, so yeah, my bad. But yeah, I got a drive-through penalty, my first ever jump start, not only in a league race, I don't think I've ever done it in career mode or anything either, at least unintentionally. Yeah, so not the best start to the race. Basically, if you go back and watch it again, you'll see that the Toro Rosso went before the lights went out, and I reacted to him leaving rather than to the lights themselves going out. So presumably we've now both got a drive-through penalty, so that's very good news for the guy in third, but not so much for myself or the pole-sitting Toro Rosso. But anyway, we just got to get on with it and serve the drive-through when we can, and a safety car actually comes out at sort of halfway through, near the end of lap 1. Which is a bit annoying really, because ideally I wanted to sort of serve a penalty as soon as possible. Obviously you can't serve it under the safety car, so I'm still second on track as the safety car now comes in at the end of lap 4. And there's a really weird thing that happened here. Normally when a safety car comes in, you bunch right up to the car in front and like really sit under his gearbox, but as you can see the gaps here for Suzuka, like I can't go any faster, I'm on the limiter. So even though it's a safety car restart, I'm like probably nearly a second behind the car in front of me, which is a bit annoying to say the least. It was almost acting more like a virtual safety car. I don't know if that's a glitch or it always happens at Suzuka or something, but yeah, either way, not great. But so as I say, we're on lap 5 now, still behind the race leader, with both of us yet to serve our drive-through penalties, which I think I'm going to do at the end of this lap. I'm not sure about the car in front, but before then we just got to... Basically I'm in a direct race with him now, because we've got the same penalty and we started on the front row alongside each other. So yeah, I was very close in qualifying, and I'm just hoping that I've got the race pace as an advantage. Going through the Lesmos, I was running a little bit wide, he was running a little bit tight. Didn't get the best exit out of the second one. But that's it for the end of that bit of clip. As you can see, we've got a serve our drive-through within the next 2 laps. So I am indeed going to serve it this lap, dropping it down into lean, so we do save some fuel while we drive through the pit lane at the pit limiter, coming around the final chicane, and now we're going to dart in. And the Toro Rosso does indeed come into the pit as well. And again, I don't know if that's a weird glitch or if it's just something that happens when you get a drive-through, but I was just coasting in 4th, ready to hit the brakes, and the game just put me in 2nd gear. And all of a sudden I was revving the nuts off the engine because I didn't realise that it changed me down through the gears. So yeah, we come out on lap 6, pretty much last, a few seconds behind the Toro Rosso, and we get told that pit window's now open, you just come out the pit, so yeah, you can come in again. But we do not pit at the end of lap 6, we stay out onto lap 7, and we've actually caught the pack of cars already, or at least a pack of cars. The Sauber there going very wide through Spoon and having a terrible exit. Both the Toro Rosso and myself getting past on the back straight as we now run up to the infamous 130R. Getting very close under slipstream and going around the corner, still very close. I committed very early to the left-hand side of the track. Probably should have tried to look at the inside, but the yellow flags come out there as the other Toro Rosso is facing sideways on the circuit. That's another position we've gained, but not on the Toro Rosso that I was hoping to get past at that corner. We got DRS though down the pitch straight. Yellow flags are up, so I can't go past yet, but I just about nose in front as the green flags come out. But the Toro Rosso does incredibly well, holding his position around the outside of the very difficult turn 1. And I definitely do not envy his position at this point in the race, because as you can see, we've continued to catch the 2 cars in front of us. I mean, myself and the Toro Rosso starting on the front row, you would expect the 2 of us to have pretty much, or have the fastest cars underneath us, or have the best pace in the race. And so we're definitely catching the cars in front of us, so he's going to try and be looking to get past them 2, but at the same time I'm trying to get past him So he's in that awkward position of trying to attack and defend, and I get very close in the run-up to this very tight first gear hairpin, and I very nearly run into the back of him. They're very fortunate not to knock off a bit of my front wing, but I decided that going for an overtake at that part of the track was not smart, so I decided to back out of it. And as you can see there, as I flick through the MFD, my tyres are getting pretty damn worn at this stage, and the Toro Rosso in front is on the same, he's been on his tyres the same length of time, so presumably he's on very worn tyres as well. But the rain is starting to come down, so we're trying to stretch this set to the crossover point. And as we come down up towards 130, I'm not quite as close as I was on the last lap, but the virtual safety car comes out. With the rain just about starting, that's almost perfect timing as we come around the last few corners. You can see there, I've decided that I'm going to box straight away, and I am indeed going straight on to the intermediate compound of tyre, as do just 2 of the 3 cars in front. Williams deciding to stick it out for an extra lap. Very weird decision. I can only presume that maybe his teammate was already in the pits and he didn't want to step behind him. But he's going to now be doing another lap, like under virtual safety car pace for a lot of it, so he's going to be going quite slowly. And as we do exit the pit lane, the car ahead of us goes very wide there, struggling to grip in these new conditions. The DRS has been disabled, and the virtual safety car has ended as we come out the pit, so potentially perfect timing for the pit stop. Lap 9 now, still behind the Toro Rosso, but he runs very deep into the very tight hairpin and hits the car in front and ends up really sideways. And because of that sort of moment that he's had there, he had a very bad exit, and I've managed to out-drag him on the exit of the corner. I'm holding it around the outside of this very long kink, which is rather tricky in the wet, I will say. And I managed to get the position by the time we go into spoon. So for the first time in 9 laps, after being separated by 4 thousandths in qualifying, I'm now up ahead of the pole sitter. Jumping now to lap 10, approaching turn 1 for the first time on these intermediates, and the car ahead of us has run wide, and so have I, and I've got a warning for my troubles. Obviously not the first time we've done turn 1, but the first time we've approached it on a flying lap. Ferrari definitely looking like he's struggling and going very wide there, and I make a very opportunistic overtake, just darting up the inside when he went wide through the S's. I made a very similar move at Silverstone through the Maggots and Beckett section in very similar conditions, so definitely seems to be something that I tend to have an advantage of. I found throughout this series, or this season, that I do tend to be quicker in the wet or in the intermediate conditions compared to my dry pace in relation to the other guy. And lap 11 there, we were just watching myself come through turn 1 for the second time in these conditions at flying pace. And once again I ran wide and got another warning, so that's 2 in 2 laps. Moving on to the end of, midway through lap 12 there, we see Toro Rosso, Force India in front of us, ran wide through that very tight hairpin, and for the second time this race I was able to out-drag him on the exit and gain a position in that manner. And in this manner, because I'm driving a manner. Good play on words there, but I definitely intended. Going down the 2 Degners on lap 15, now coming up behind a Renault, and he's run wide and he's rejoined the track very, almost dangerously. Quite harsh, quite a sharp angle there. And I just about managed to get on the brakes and get round him without making any contact. And I'm actually now up into the lead of the race on lap 15. Not bad after serving a drive-through penalty. On to lap 18 now, and it is much drier on track. So at the end of this lap, we're going to come in for a set of medium tyres. Just coming around the final chicane, turning off into the pit lane. Jeff's telling me it's a changeover point. I agree. Braking for the line, and I do not brake anywhere near early enough. And I speed in the pit lane. So I've got another drive-through penalty. I've not had a single drive-through penalty all season, and now I get 2 in 1 race. I've never done a jump start before, and I've never missed the braking line for a pit stop before, at least in this season, or in my league racing career. This is the only league race I race in, so, and I've only been doing it for this 1 season. So I've got 0 drive-throughs across my first 15 races, and I don't think I've done quite that many. I haven't been at every race. And now I've got 2 in 1 race. So not the best timing really, but coming in to serve my drive-through. It doesn't shove me down into second automatically this time, but I do make it into the pits very cautiously, making sure that I don't speed into the pits and get myself another penalty. So we're exiting the pit on lap 20 now, with just 7 laps to go until the end of the race. And we cut right through onto lap 26 because nothing happened for those 6 laps. But we are up behind the Force India. I forgot to say actually, we came out of the pits, even though we served another drive-through penalty, we still came out of the pits in 3rd place. 6 laps later, I've been hunting down this Force India, and 2nd position is possibly on the cards if I can find a way past him. I've already overtaken him once this race, when he made a mistake at the hairpin, and that's given me confidence. It means I know that either he's not very consistent, or he's prone to mistakes. I've got a mental edge, because apart from the penalty things, I haven't made any driving errors in this race. I guess you could say braking, well, I guess you could say they are driving errors, but anyway, going into this final chicane, he braked rather early. I wasn't expecting to try and make a move there, but I didn't quite get it done through the chicane. But then around the final corner, I just seem to have far more traction, far more grip, far more speed. I went around the outside as we go down onto the pit straight, and I've taken 2nd position out of a move that I really wasn't expecting to make. I was expecting to be stuck behind him for at least another few corners, maybe use DRS to go up the inside in turn 1, but yeah, I was not expecting to brake so early. So we're on to the final lap of the race now, back up into 2nd place, which is, remember, where I started the race from. And yeah, this is looking like where I'm going to finish. We're going to ride on board for this lap now. Come up through the S's in the 1st sector, through to the through to the 2 Degners. For the first one, you just want to dab on the brakes down to 6th and turn in. The second one's quite a bigger braking zone and down into 3rd gear, making sure you hit both of the inside apexes because you really don't want to run wide. Then you flat out through a right little kink and then down to 1st gear for a very tight hairpin, one of the tightest corners on the calendar really. Maybe excluding, is it Lowe's hairpin at Monaco? That's definitely the tightest corner on the calendar. But it's definitely the tightest corner on this track. And then you've got the flat out right hand curve, and then Spoon you've got 2 different braking zones for. Down into 5th for the first one, touching the outside curve, then you're braking again down to 4th for the second part of the corner. And then it's all about getting on the power, carrying as much speed as you possibly can up towards 130R, one of the fastest corners in F1. And you can see there on old tyres at the end of the race, I'm actually up on my best lap time. And now coming through the final few corners, you want to clip both of the apexes. I take far too much curb on the second part of that chicane there. And again, I was kind of too tight on the final corner as well. And I come across the line to finish in 2nd place, not quite matching my fastest lap of the race. So yeah, it was a very interesting race. It was good fun. I really do enjoy driving around Suzuka. As you can see, I'm only person in the top 12 not to get a time penalty, but I did get 2 drive-through penalties, so it doesn't really say much, does it? But yeah, it was an interesting race. I'm almost disappointed not to have won, because if you take out those, or even one of the drive-throughs, I only finished 9 seconds off the lead, so I could definitely have won on pace. But at the same time, to serve 2 drive-through penalties and still get back up to finish in 2nd place, I've got to be happy with that. So anyway, that's it for the Japanese Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time for the next one. Goodbye.